Okay. Here we go. Okay, so hi everybody. I'm Marissa Martinez, and today I'll be talking to you about physician-assisted suicide, also known as PAS. So if you got diagnosed with a painful disease, what would you want to do? Would you want to spend the rest of the time you have with your family and your friends, or would you want to spare the pain that you and your friends and family may suffer by using PAS? So because it is illegal in most places, people don't have the choice of using physician-assisted suicide. So according to www.merriam-webster.com, last access June 15, 2015, physician-assisted suicide is defined as suicide by a patient facilitated by means or info like a drug or prescription or indication of the lethal dosage provided by a physician who's aware of how the patient will use these means or information. So we put down dogs when they're too sick and they're in a lot of pain, and we don't force them to live through it. So why would we force people to live through painful times if they do not want to? And I think that's just a good example of how PAS would be helpful. So PAS is more beneficial than people realize, but all they see is that it's unethical or that people are being killed, and it's just not how it is. And it should be legal because people should have the right to choose what they want. They shouldn't be forced into it, and they wouldn't be. And it'll help from patients who are suffering, and it'll also help family members of these patients from their suffering. So patients should have the freedom of choice, and a lot of patients actually have to go through drastic measures to be able to have PAS. And one of these examples is Maynard, a girl who got diagnosed with a brain tumor, and she lived in California. And California, it is not legal. So she had to move to Oregon to be able to participate, and her entire family had to move over there too, which obviously was a hardship on them. And so, according to Nicole Egan's October 2014 article in People magazine, Maynard says it's easier to bear than pain now, that knows she's in control. By making her decisions, she says, I'm choosing to suffer less to put myself and my family through less pain, and it's an enormous stress relief. So she's just very relieved that she can go out the way she wants to instead of having her health completely deteriorate over time. So people should be allowed to choose the extent of their treatment, just like how a chemo patient will say, oh, I don't want to go through chemo anymore. Well, you should be able to say, oh, I'm terminally ill anyways. I want to participate in PAS, or I don't want to. So there's a lot of pain and death when it comes to some diseases, and a lot of it can be avoided using PAS. And I think that should be allowed. So patients should just not be allowed to be forced to live through pain and suffering if they don't want to. Now, if they want to and they want to be with their family, then let them, but I think you should just have the choice. So it'll mainly be used for terminally ill patients and people who have things like brain tumors or ALS. So a lot of the times it'll be used for patients who are unfit to do anything for themselves, and they say, when I become unfit to do anything, can you do physician-assisted suicide for me? And so this will be like for patients with ALS and brain tumors and all these other things, and they just become unfit and they don't want to go out with they want to go out with dignity. So they also choose to avoid pain for them and their families using PAS because obviously they don't want their health to be deteriorating in front of their family and their friends. Okay, so many terminally ill patients have diseases that will make them not be themselves, like I said, like ALS or like maybe even Alzheimer's, and they just don't want to put their families through all of that pain. So, according to Arthur Schaffer's December 2014 article in CCPA Monitor, Gloria Taylor put the central point eloquently. What I want is to be able to die in a manner that's consistent with my life. I want control and to die with dignity and with my sense of self and personal integrity intact. I want to be able to experience my death as part of my life. I don't want my death to undermine the life that I lived my life in accordance with. So what she's saying is that she just wants to be able to die with dignity and not have her health deteriorating, like I said. And she wants to be able to function in her last moments and be able to remember everything and not have to put her family through that. So a lot of the defense for keeping PAS illegal is that it's unethical and that people will use it it'll be easier for people to commit suicide. And it's actually legal in 5 states right now, and it's highly restricted and it's highly watched, and it's so not easy for people to just go and say, hey, I'm having a bad day, can I commit suicide? And no physician would participate in PAS for any of these reasons. So it's really restricted and it's really watched. So it also, one of the major things why it should be legal, is because it'll lessen the pain of the family members. And this is true because it's very hard to see a family member and their health going down and then seeing them in pain. It puts you in pain. So it'll be much easier for the family members to know that their family member died in peace. So with Maynard, again, the girl I talked to you about earlier, her family was glad that she went the way that she wanted to and that she went with dignity, and they felt better about her death than they would have if they had to watch her and her brain tumor grow. So according to John Westfield's November 2013 article in Journal of Loss and Trauma, family members of patients with terminal illnesses who follow through with PAD often report PAD eliminated suffering and that they were pleased by the physician's response. So the family members were actually happy because their family members didn't have to go through so much pain and suffering, and they also didn't have to go through as much pain and suffering. So it'll also help people financially, and I know that you can't put a price on life, but it'll help people financially because if they already agreed with PAS and they're already going through with it, then you're saving months or even years of hospital visits and treatments. So this will help them. And with Maynard again, her family had to pay to move from California to Oregon, and that was obviously costly on them. So that's another great example of how they'll save people money and help people financially. And so today I would like for you to remember all the things I talked to you about and how physician-assisted suicide should be made legal. And some of these things include because people should have the right to choose what they want in their treatment, and how people should be able to do it if they have severe illnesses that are terminal anyways, and if it'll help the family members. So it'll help the family members financially, and it'll help people choose what they want, because you should be able to choose what you want if you are already in there anyways. And so an article written by Miranda Barbuzzi in 2014 in Penn Bioethics Journal had the title of Who Owns the Right to Die? So I think this really caught my eye because who does own the right to die? And that's all I'm talking about today, and just remember all that. So.